Have you ever felt like the more you understand, the less you belong? Like the deeper your thoughts go, the further you drift from the world around you. You're not imagining it. Deep thinking does create distance, and not because you've changed, but because most people aren't ready to follow you where your mind goes. Throughout history, society hasn't just ignored deep thinkers, it's feared them, feared their questions, feared their clarity, feared what they see that others would rather pretend isn't there. From Giordano Bruno to Emily Dickinson, from Alan Turing to Simone Weil, brilliant minds weren't just underappreciated, they were alienated. Not because they were wrong, but because they made people uncomfortable. But why? Why does profound thought lead to profound loneliness? It starts with something psychologists call identity disruption. When you meet someone stronger or wealthier than you, sure, you might feel inspired, maybe a little envious. But your core identity stays intact. Strength and wealth are external. But intelligence, that's personal. Because the way we think is who we are. So when someone challenges your beliefs, sees through illusions you still depend on, or speaks truths you've never dared face, it's not just uncomfortable, it's threatening. And humans, we're wired to avoid threats. That's the first twist. Deep thinkers aren't pushing people away. Their presence reflects something others don't want to see. And that reflection hurts. There's a term for this, the cognitive mirror. A truly thoughtful person doesn't just speak new ideas. They unintentionally expose the limitations of those around them. It's not their fault. It's not even personal. But it still makes others defensive. And here's where it gets more complicated. In one-on-one settings, people can admire intelligence. They can feel curious, open, even grateful. But in groups, that admiration often turns into discomfort, then into exclusion. A 2021 Stanford study found that people felt more threatened by intelligence in group environments than they did in private. Because in groups, status matters. Everyone's comparing, competing. So when a deep thinker speaks, others subconsciously worry, not just about the idea, but about how they look in front of everyone else. That leads to the second twist. Most rejection of intelligence is not logical. It's social, it's primal, it's tribal. Humans evolved in tight-knit communities where survival meant fitting in. Standing out, even in a good way, was risky, because being different often meant being left behind. And in many ways, we've brought that ancient fear into modern life. That's why, when someone starts questioning assumptions or going too deep too fast, people don't engage. They shut down. You've probably felt it yourself. You bring up a complex thought in a casual conversation. Suddenly, the mood shifts. People look away. Someone changes the subject. You're left feeling like you did something wrong. You didn't. It's just that most people aren't wired to seek truth at all costs. They're wired to seek comfort. And that's where the pain sets in. Because deep thinkers don't want surface-level lives. They don't want distractions. They want to understand, even if it hurts. That brings us to the third twist. Intelligence isn't just misunderstood, it's misinterpreted. In social settings, people often confuse complexity with arrogance, curiosity with confrontation, nuance with negativity. Meanwhile, those who oversimplify, speak confidently, or repeat comfortable narratives get rewarded. Online and offline. In conversations, politics, entertainment, you name it. Because society is built for certainty, not complexity. That's the real paradox. The deeper you think, the harder it is to be heard. Not because you're wrong, but because you're not simple. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your isolation isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're seeing clearly in a world that prefers fog. And you're not alone in that struggle. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer believed that intelligence is like a higher sense, one that reveals not just truth, but also suffering. He argued that the more you understand human nature, the harder it is to be happy within it. Why? Because you can't unsee reality once you've seen it clearly. You notice the patterns, the illusions, the small talk, the self-deception, the endless chase for things that don't matter. And while others may find comfort in routine or distraction, deep thinkers often feel a strange emptiness in places where others find joy. But Schopenhauer didn't see that as a curse. He saw it as freedom. He believed that true thinkers shouldn't seek to fit in, but to create spaces where authenticity, reflection, and truth can thrive. So what can you do if you feel disconnected? First, embrace solitude, not as isolation, but as space for your mind to expand. Some of the most profound insights in history were born in silence. Second, seek kindred spirits. Not everyone is ready to go deep, but some are. You just have to find them. Books, conversations, corners of the internet where minds meet instead of clash. And third, protect your energy. Not every thought needs to be shared. Not every person is ready to hear what you've seen. Know your audience. Speak wisely. And never confuse silence with weakness. Because here's the final truth. Society doesn't fear intelligence because it's hard to understand. It fears it because it reveals too much, too soon. And deep down, most people aren't ready for that. But if you are, if you're willing to think, to feel, to question, then yes, it might get lonely. But it will also be real. And in a world full of illusions, that is a life worth living.